Hey, what's up, guys? This is Alex. I'm just making this video real quick to say that I am locking up with a $39.83 red day. However, this is probably going to be one of those instances where I cannot separate my simulator trades from my practice trades. I don't have time to make the recap, and I really want to test an idea that I just had. So I'm going to be taking some practice trades right now, and that'll be confusing. So I'm making this video to show that I'm cutting it off right now. Okay, so here we are, making the recap again. I had a really sloppy morning from top to bottom, and up until about half an hour ago, I felt really terrible. My physical condition was no good. Pretty much it started rough today, and it didn't really get better. And one of the first thing I'll mention is that I was unshaven for this session today. And that sounds like, unrelated information, but it really isn't. Because, I believe in order to perform well in a job like this, you really have to have the rest of your life intact. And you have to be comfortable in multiple areas. And today I was not comfortable. I was showing early signs of disciplinary failures. And unlike yesterday, where I did not trade at all in my simulator account and I only took practice trades, which I'll get to shortly, today I allowed myself to trade. And all 5 of my trades today were sloppy. Whoops, yeah, that's true. 5 trades. And 60%. And yeah, those corrections that I just made right there too, that's another bit of the sloppiness. I'm making this recap for a second time today because of the fact that I wrote down my trades incorrectly. I forgot the second last one, and so I had to delete the 12-minute recap that I had already, and now here I am making it again. So for this recap, this second attempt at the recap today, I'm going to start by pointing out that I won't be going over the trades in great detail today. I did take 5 here in my simulator, and I took an additional 8 trades in my practice account. And so a lot of information is kind of merged in and confused, and I don't think my explanations are going to be all that clear. But what I will say about this day is this is a very well-deserved loss. I think I deserved even more red than I actually booked today. And that really shows in how badly my practice trades went, a few of which I will point out. But the first thing I want to do is talk about how my day went yesterday. So yesterday, I had locked myself out of my simulator account before the bell even rang. I think it was about 9 a.m. when I decided that I'm not taking any trades in my sim today and that I would only be trading practice trades. And the 2 ones that I took are highlighted here at the bottom, both on ASDC and both winners. And I finished with $155 of profit on those 2 trades, which sounds good, but they were horrible trades. I risked about $130 in order to book this 155. And both of these trades were very poorly managed. And the reason for that was because I woke up at around 4:30 a.m., which I did not want to do. Normally, my alarm is set for 8 a.m. in order to make sure that I'm fresh for the time when the bell rings. And so as I switch over here to my trade log with the 5 trades from today highlighted, I want to talk a little bit about the greater situation and my general comfort level that led me to take yesterday off and that made me make a lot of mistakes today. And the first thing, the most important thing I think, is that I haven't been eating well at all lately. In the past couple days, I have not been having good meals. I think it's been about 60 hours since I had a really complete meal, and I've been feeling fatigued both physically and mentally during that time. And yesterday, a big part of the reason why I took the day off was because I got up at 4:30. And the reason that I got up at 4:30 yesterday was because I went to bed early the night before. And that was largely because I had a brutal headache that I believe was related to the fact that I haven't been eating well. And then on top of that, when I woke up yesterday, I realized I did not have any decaffeinated coffee, which is normally what I drink on a trading day. And so instead of having decaf, or instead of going to the store to get decaf, or just skipping coffee altogether, I ended up having caffeinated coffee. And my first one that I had was around 5:15 a.m. And the effect that had was I crashed really early. At about 8:45, I started to feel that caffeine crash. And I decided not to keep drinking more. I didn't want to, get myself all buzzed and drugged up. And so I ended up just deciding against trading yesterday. And a big part of my decision to do that was, in fact, that, there wasn't a whole lot going on yesterday on the scanners. That did contribute. But I think more than anything, it was because my physical condition was not strong, and I didn't think that the decisions I would make would be good going into the day. And so instead of taking the risk of making bad decisions and taking losses, I decided to be disciplined and just not trade. And moving forward to today, pretty much the same thing happened. The only difference is my wake up time. I woke up at about 5:45 a.m. this morning instead of 4:30. But just like yesterday, I did not have any decaf available, and just like yesterday, I drank caffeinated coffee. And once again, I ended up crashing pretty early. But the difference in this case is that I did allow myself to trade. And my reasoning was that I thought the opportunities present in the market were enough to justify me getting involved. And it feels like whenever I do that, it turns out to be the wrong decision. I think there was a few days ago, maybe 4 or 5 recaps ago, I mentioned this exact same pattern of I don't feel too good, but I think the opportunities are going to be good enough that I'm going to let myself trade. And so, like I said at the beginning, where I said I feel like I deserve a bigger red day than I booked today, that's because of how many failures I let myself be guilty of leading up to this day. I think I did really well yesterday to cut it off before the bell and to not allow myself to trade. And the fact that I did book green in my practice trades yesterday, that doesn't matter. That's just, it just so happens that I ended up green. But I think that my executions were terrible. And even after I booked, $155 in profit in those practice trades, I was still happy that I did not trade in my sim account yesterday. But then to make matters worse, or at least to not make them better, I didn't go grocery shopping. I didn't have a good meal yesterday. I didn't eat well. I didn't go get decaffeinated coffee. I didn't shave, which is something that really irritates me. If I have, too much stubble on my face, it really bothers me. And I didn't take care of any of those problems. And so I think really like the lesson I'm trying to drive home here, both to myself and anybody watching, is to really pay attention to what you're doing outside of trading. It's not about just the decisions you're making trading. It's about what you do leading up to it and how much discipline surrounds your trades. And in this case today, I think it was a no-brainer. Of course I was going to lose today, and of course I was going to make sloppy mistakes. And in fact, I told myself that I was locked up after this fourth trade here. I took 3 entries on a questionable setup where I was expecting too much to happen. And when I saw myself do that, and in addition, when I realized that I broke my 10 trade win streak here, that was getting sloppier and sloppier, I thought, okay, this is not the right pattern. I'm making worse and worse trades. And now I have this big red one that brought me down to only being up something like $17 on the day. And I thought, okay, that's it. That's the end of the day. You're done. And then I broke that statement, which is a very rare slip for me. And so when I took this other one where I lost an additional $60 for no good reason whatsoever, that's when I said, okay, I'm absolutely done today. And so that's when I made that little 30-second video that you saw at the beginning of the recap. And as I switch back here to my practice trades to show you the ones from today, which are these 8 right here, I'll mention that the mistakes didn't stop. Even though, I finally did put my foot down and I finally did close my sim account with that $40 loss, I still continued to make mistakes and my performance did not improve. And I don't just mean in my trades too. Like you can see, I took some really big losers here. And this particular trade, this should have been an absolute home run. This one as well should have been a home run. And, I gave a lot of my gains back following these trades. And to make matters worse is that I slipped back into the pattern of not doing the right thing with my practice trades. And to illustrate that, I'll scroll back here so that you can see that there was a huge gap in time in between the 1st of November and then yesterday on the 14th. I did take one practice trade that I later deleted. It was a winner that was too big, like it exceeded my margin. I don't want to get into it right now. It's kind of like a side note, but I did take one winning trade. It was a $75 winner, but because it would not have been possible, I exceeded the margin limit. I decided to just erase that completely from my practice trades. So other than that one, there was an almost 2-week gap in between my practice trades. And the reason I haven't been using practice trades too often lately is because I wanted to break the habits that were forming as a result of taking these types of trades, as a result of allowing myself to be too sloppy. And I mentioned that either yesterday or the day before, a couple of recaps ago, I did mention that. And even yesterday, I kept it pretty tight. I had two sloppy trades and then I didn't go back to the well. And today I did the opposite. I had multiple trades open at multiple times. I went pretty far outside my comfort zone. I did a lot of things which were not realistic and did not reflect the way that I want to trade. And I think I pushed it too hard. And the effect that that has on me and has had in earlier practice trades is that it just irritates me. It makes me annoyed, and that's not something I want to do. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to get better at trades that I'm not familiar with, and to try and see what I can do to improve my results in my simulator, which will then improve my results when I go back live. And I think that almost nothing that I did today in my practice trades accomplished those goals. And the amount of frustration that I felt was just, it never stopped increasing today. From like maybe about 9, no, maybe 10 a.m. to like half an hour ago. I mean, the frustration level just kept on rising. And even now, it's been a while since I ate. Once again, I think I had lunch at like 11:30. It's now 3:20 p.m. and I still haven't had like a decent meal since a couple of days ago. And I think, again, this is a reflection of that. It's a reflection of what I'm doing around the trades. And I think this week has really been a roller coaster. If you watch the last couple of recaps, you'll know that I did okay. I did have 4 sloppy trades on this day, and then I followed it up with a good one on a halt resumption, which I was really comfortable with. And then on this one, on the 13th, I had 2 decent trades that weren't amazing, but it was at least a setup that I was familiar with, and I think that my execution on those 2 trades was good. But then that's the day when things started to reverse, when my my nutritional intake was not so stellar, and I think that's when things really started to go downhill. And so all this is to say that I'm really happy that it's Friday. I'm happy that I have 2 days to get my shit together, and that once I finish this recap, I'm immediately going to the grocery store. I'm going to load up on all kinds of stuff, and I'm going to get myself ready for next week and get myself ready for a well-disciplined weekend, and also to have a little bit of fun. That's something I haven't mentioned yet so far, is that in the last couple of days, pretty much all week, I've been just binging on work. I mean, I've had 14 or 18-hour work days all week this week, and I've been really overworked with not enough fun. I haven't taken part in any kind of social event since Saturday, I think, of last weekend. And that's no good. I've proven over the last 3 years that going out and having fun with friends has a hugely positive impact on how well I do in trading. And that the stats are absolutely clear on that. And so I think not doing that and not going out this week and having just a little bit of fun, not staying out too late, not drinking heavily, but just having a little, joke session with friends for a couple hours, that's exactly what I need, and I haven't been doing it. And so that's something I want to fix as well. I want to go out this weekend and do something that's really enjoyable and has nothing to do with work. Now, to finish this one up, I do want to point out that there is always going to be a counterpoint to everything. And in this case, I've spent about 11 minutes bitching and moaning about all the things I did wrong, and I believe all the things I just said. But one positive thing that I will say I noticed recently is the impact of me sharing all this in a public forum. Even though there may only be a few people watching, I highly recommend this to everybody. I think that sharing this publicly has really had a positive impact in that it's made me play things a lot tighter. It's made me make fewer mistakes. And you've heard me in previous recaps go on and on about all the things I'm not happy with. Some of my biggest green days have been ones where I have a problem with something that I do. And despite that, I've still been able to produce results that at present are, close to 60% in about a month and a half. And that greatly exceeds what it's looked like in the past when I've made mistakes. When I haven't been happy with myself in the past, it has produced, red results or break-even results that later become red because of account fees. And in this case, despite all account fees, despite all commissions and everything put together, I'm still up about 45%, and that to me is pretty strong. And I think that there's never been a period of performance for me that has contained so many mistakes and yet has still managed to be as green and consistent as this one. So for the viewer, I think my advice, my very strong advice would be do this as well. It doesn't matter if you even have anybody watching, just having the opportunity to have somebody criticize your results, and openly too. It's the internet, there's always going to be somebody who's going to shit on you for doing something wrong. And I think that the impact that that has is going to be positive. And I think that as long as you're able to accept that criticism and to be able to separate whether it's just blind hatred or whether it is logical criticism, I think that the impact is definitely going to be positive. And in this case, for me, I'm always going to be my hardest critic. I mean, good luck surpassing me on that. But nevertheless, I think that the impact has been good for me. And just to top it off, I'm happy we're going into the weekend because I really want to get back to the discipline that I showed earlier in the week. And I want to really make a strong push, regardless of the market conditions, next week. So hopefully, I will once again have this pattern of only having one red day and then going back to a green streak. And I sure hope that day 28 is going to be a substantial winner where I take setups I'm comfortable with and where I'm really happy with the things that I do. So until then, guys, happy trading and have a good weekend.